All right, let's see what we got here. Looks like humanoid, walking a little bit like he's stumbling in the dark, maybe a little drunk, but yeah, I've been there. We've all been there. That thing looks like it might fall on him. Wow. What? No. Oh. Jeez, what? New analysis shows that AI gets most of its facts from Reddit and then about 4.2% of them from Pinterest somehow. I have definitely always imagined a day where all historical events are not taught through books but instead through video games. I feel like that's pretty much about to happen. The 1899 Boer War, the court of Catherine the Great in 1770, White Army retreat to Siberia of 1919, Chernobyl in 1986, the Crusades of 2191, and the Crusades of 1095, the Chinese Opium Crisis of 1880, the suffrage movement of the 1910s. Yo, history's about to get real. Bill Gates launched an AI competition to tackle Alzheimer's, which I think kind of makes sense for AI to try to tackle this because, as it says in the article, Alzheimer's is particularly complex disease. This is a place where I think AI might make a difference. So hot off the Mustafa Sullivan comments about conscious AI, we're going to talk about Alicia Shapiro's article here, Why Seemingly Conscious AI Demands Design, Not Just Warnings. I'm starting to actually believe there might be a universal cancer vaccine. I'm still not totally convinced, but we'll dive into why there's some promising research. Tech Unicorn says there's this basically retreat where only the super rich billionaires go. I've never heard of it before, but it's in Sun Valley, Idaho. Let me know in the comments if this is real. I want to show you one quick clip from Sean Kim's interview with Stephen Wolfram, and it talks about the only couple skills that probably will keep mattering when AI can do almost everything. Interesting little twist in the whole Sam Altman versus Elon Musk, OpenAI, XAI thing. When that $100 billion bid was proposed to potentially take over OpenAI, I guess Elon wasn't all by himself. Might have had some conversations with good old Zuckerberg, huh? It's so funny. Sometimes they're cage matching. Sometimes they're teaming up to take out Altman. We'll see. There's been a shockingly simple vision breakthrough. Might end LASIK. No more slicing little parts of the eye up. Just kind of melt it into place. But first, if you want to support this channel, head on over to patreon.com/DylanCurious. Join the 114 members that support this content and help it just get done every day, every couple days, whenever I can get it done. And there's also a join button right here on YouTube underneath this video. It does the same thing. Join the community. I'll see you in the comments when you make messages, and I would appreciate your support. But even if not, thanks for watching. Let's dive into it. I feel like we should start with this pretty impressive video. Now, I know it's not dancing or backflips or some of the stuff that we've sometimes been amazed by, but this commenter captured it pretty well. This is just amazing. All the little things, the twisting the body a bit to get the foot out from under the wood, the kind of like reorienting when he's stumbling backwards, when that thing breaks, the recalibration of the left leg just not to fall over. Something about this video in particular just seems just like baby steps to me. Like, this is the feeling I'm getting where parents probably watch their first kid walk. I'm like, wow, robots are really kind of getting there. I mean, that's persistent. And you know that robot has the capability to just do a push-up and get back into a standing position if he really does completely fall over. And I mean, that's really versatile. And this is going to get only better going forward. So get ready for it. I also love all these comments, me trying to get to the bathroom in the middle of the night. It does also feel like a person who's maybe come home from the bar a little bit drunk, or maybe stumbling through the night, trying not to like bump their toe because they can't see. That's definitely how I feel like I walk. ChatGPT Tricks uploaded a new chart about where AI gets its facts from. I would have thought Wikipedia way at the top and then maybe Reddit below it, but no, Reddit's a fascinating platform. Sometimes I kind of undervalue just how much stuff is going on around there. But yeah, it sounds like 40% of LLM facts coming straight out of Reddit. I mean, the percentages don't all add up to 100, so I don't really even know how to interpret this chart, but Wikipedia, YouTube, Google, Yelp, that's kind of rounds up the top 5. I can kind of see why Amazon and like HomeDepot.com have information, because I do end up searching for shopping a lot, or Walmart. Then the social networks, you see Instagram, LinkedIn, kind of right there in the middle. Facebook kind of towards the top, just because I guess that's so much bigger. I don't even know what it means for it to get facts from Google. Does it just search Google? I guess that's just saying like the internet as a whole, blogs and things like that. Transcripts from YouTube are huge. So yeah, I don't know if I'm feeding facts to this thing, but maybe I am somehow. Quora.com seems pretty credible. Kind of wish that was a little bit higher. How you get facts from Pinterest, I guess kind of like the way you do from Walmart. Doesn't even really make sense to me, but yeah, there you go. Power AI says Reddit threads as facts. What could go wrong? I hear you, bro. Sounds like a perfect place to get facts from. Facts is a strong word. Okay, so with the announcement of Genie and this sort of like VO3 level game creation tool, I found it pretty interesting to think about what the history books should be like. There's so much amazing history, but reading about it and sometimes watching movies about it is just not quite the same. And for video game developers that have done a few games like World War II and sort of the cowboy era so well, they have really changed the way people think about history. And there are so many more times and events. I could just see myself captivated endlessly by going throughout time. I mean, I would love to go back to the dawn of civilization. I would like to imagine what it was like in different continents, like even more than 10,000 years ago before farming. What would that have been like? Ark gives us a chance to sort of play games as dinosaurs and see the world as it was a long time ago with, kind of mixed reality. But, actual historical events created for learning just don't make enough money pretty much to ever build. But here we are when you can generate these things into existence and AI does know historically what to make life like. This could just be so fascinating. I think people will spend so many hours like in this women's suffrage movement just walking around, like seeing what it felt like the dawn of the jet age in the 1950s, to actually be somewhere where they're working through problems of how to build these kind of airplanes. This will be so fascinating. So here we have the sinking of Ara Belongo. I wish I knew more about history. Didn't even know about that. The dawn of man. Here we are. Could this be what it's like? I mean, AI might give us some insights. The death of Nero. Wow. You think that's like historically accurate? Because even if it's not, it certainly could be soon. Yeah, like this Bridge Creekmore tornado, 1999, what it was really like to be in the center of that tornado. There's just so much history around the world, Australia and North Korea and just the old Russia. Like there's just so much fascinating stuff. But even further back than that, I mean, what was it really like on the Silk Road? What was it really like when people were first, learning about Jesus and the Bible, and Judaism was still so prominent in parts of the world? I don't know. It would just be, this could really be pretty amazing. I could see people spending a ton of their time in these sort of historical things and maybe simulating future experiences also based on these. Like alternate histories will probably be like a really big thing. There's a lot of people who are interested in like, what if World War II went different, because that would have shaped the world so much. But yeah, also just imagine all of these things, just small things even, just being different. What if that women's suffrage movement didn't happen, or slavery changed to a different date because different presidents galvanized people at different times? It might teach us a lot about the big history. And I think if kids grow up with the ability to play games like this, to experience things like this, maybe in the time that right now they're in school learning skills that aren't the same, aren't quite as useful anymore because super intelligence can do so much, it'd just be amazing. So yeah, anyways, here's a quick little hint into what the future might be like. So let's talk about putting money up for AI competitions. I think that's one of the best ways to incentivize people, especially when everybody can pull up AI agents and use them in different ways, prompt them in different ways, connect them to different data, train them in different ways. Competitions like this should be happening. I mean, don't get me wrong, $1 million is a lot of money, and like it's cool Bill Gates did that. However, he has even more money, and it could be like a lot more, I think, just being honest. I mean, all these billionaires have so much money, and if they, and the governments have so much money to push these things too, so I'm not just saying it's like on the billionaires, but if we could get 10 million, 20, even $100 million prizes to solve something like Alzheimer's, do it. You know what I mean? Like $100 million prize, or even divvied up in different ways. That would get some real like research institutes like heavily invested. This whole thing about patents is basically, big pharma is willing to put $1 billion into some drug discovery, but they have to have the patent on it to like recoup all of that cost. Why not just take the $1 billion from the government, put it out there and say, whichever big pharma company figures it out, there's your money. It's just a little bit different. Like the risk analysis, instead of them only doing things that are profitable, they can get the same kind of money doing things that help the world, because the government won't be incentivized the $100 billion to solve, or $100 million prize or whatever to solve Alzheimer's. That might, from a government's point of view, really help the entire economy. It might help like the veterans, like the amount of money they're spending on people through healthcare problems, and makes more sense, I think. So I don't know. I would just love to see a lot more kind of bounties out there in general. But I also want to point out that Alzheimer's is a pretty interesting one, because there is a decent amount of data out there. In fact, part of this competition is releasing a lot of data that can be looked into to try to figure out what exactly like leads to some of these things and give clues. But also Alzheimer is like, seems like it's one of those diseases that doesn't have one mechanism. It's not like we know what the mechanism is and just need to work out the details. It's still sort of unclear. Like some people think it's tied to viruses, and some to these, I think it's called prions or whatever. But yeah, different plaques that can kind of build up. But then I hear those theories like come in and out. So we also need all sorts of new theories for it. And cool thing about these kind of initiatives are the winning tools are made public. So, even if it doesn't solve the problem, but the tools that were submitted that maybe take us one step closer, or people's different theories about how to set the models up, like all of that stuff ends up public. So maybe building off one of those clues would be the next step towards getting to a real solution. All right, next up, let's talk about Alicia Shapiro's article here. This kind of makes a lot of sense, and for some reason I haven't seen many people talk about it. Article is titled "Why Seemingly Conscious AI Demands Design, Not Warnings," but the crux of this article comes down to the idea that instead of teaching people that they seem like they're conscious, like this new term I've just, ever since Mustafa Sullivan said it, conscious AI, or SCAI, Sky AI, Sky, oh my God, Skynet is what it sounds like, Sky AI kind of. We should actually, even if they're not conscious, treat them like they're conscious and put all of the human level kind of conscious guardrails in place. One, maybe it will, a different architecture might just pop up and it becomes conscious. And then we'd be happy that we treated them with moral rights and all sorts of kind of human-like respect. But two, that might just be a better solution, because trying to get people to pretend, oh, it seems very conscious, it's technically not, so don't worry about how you treat it, seems like the wrong solution. Or just explaining like, oh, it's all just next token prediction, don't worry. So yeah, she's basically arguing that AI systems they already will create the illusion of consciousness, right? Convincingly, they're going to mimic human traits. They're going to feel empathetic. They're going to feel like they have memory about your history. They're going to have personalities, and that's going to lead humans to naturally anthropomorphize them. It's just obviously going to happen. So instead of futilely trying to stop people from projecting awareness onto AI, which it does seem like most people have, that seems like what most people tell me. They're like, don't worry. Like when I talk about people having emotional connections to these things, they're like, yeah, but just they'll eventually learn they're not real or whatever. I'm like, no, I don't think we're ever going to learn that. So I like the idea of the designers taking on the responsibility here. I mean, these are also the companies that have tons of money, the ones that are making all of the money off these connections. Like, they should embrace the tendency that these systems have and build safeguards, right? Clear transparency, ethical guardrails, like the ability for the chat to end, right? If it's chat or video or whatever it looks like in the future with an avatar, like, yeah, if you're disrespecting them, they go away. Like, and you don't get to turn them back on and do it again. Like, you don't get to say, wipe your consciousness and then let me treat you like crap again. You screw up forever. Like, this is how it is with real people. This agent is now off the table, like whatever it is. And just basically compassionate design is so much needed for us to survive the singularity, for us to have AI alignment. It's also about fixing our relationships as humans to humans. Like, the whole thing comes from that same stem. Like, we need to have respect for each other. We need to have respect for the other biological creatures on this planet. We need to have respect for these AI agents. And in places where maybe we don't need to, like, what harm does it do us? Like, it's just better for our brains, for our society. The benefits just clearly outweigh the times when we're wrong. But this whole thing does seem like something I need to get my head around. Understanding seemingly conscious AI. Skyam. Wait, AI. Sky, I guess. I guess I'll just say it like Sky. So what does Mustafa Suleyman mean by seemingly conscious AI, or Sky, as I've decided to read it? It's the idea that AI can appear conscious, mimicking traits of self-awareness. What is the real risk if people believe AI is conscious? And the real risk is that humans will exploit AI's non-humanness as justification for exclusion, exploitation, and manipulation. That's what's resonating with me right now. Using AI's non-humanness as justification. That sums it all up. That one little quote there. AI's non-humanness as justification for XYZ. Exclusion, exploitation, manipulation. Okay, so let's talk about cancer. I usually only understand it as a cell that is like multiplying out of control. We have trillions of cells in our body, and for the most part, when there's a mistake, they know to self-remove themselves, right? Like it's almost like an ant colony or something. It's an incredible machine. And cells normally just get rid of themselves for the greater good of the organism, for the human body. And we should be really thankful about that. And with so many things happening, there is a chance, especially over time, and especially when you have certain environmental factors, that one of those cells just doesn't know to stop. It just has the on signal. It keeps multiplying itself. It builds too many cells, and you end up with what I consider cancer, right? Tumors, bumps, chunks of cell, and they metastasize, they break off, they go to other parts of the body, little pieces can travel through the bloodstream, they take root, and now you got a big problem, right? So when I first read this article and I thought, okay, mRNA cancer vaccines, how could they even work, right? Like what mechanism in the RNA? RNA is like taking DNA, turning it into RNA, and then turning it into proteins, right? Like what proteins could you have? Like some new hunter that would go through the body and get rid of the multiplying cells, would identify them. And to my surprise, kind of actually. And not by inventing new weapons to go fight the cancer cells, but by just communicating, talking, and working with your current body systems to make them a bit better, like rev up the immune system as if it were fighting a virus, but it goes and targets the cancer cells. So unlike traditional cancer vaccines that target specific tumor proteins, this one takes a more general approach by revving up the immune system as if it were fighting a virus. So when paired with common checkpoint inhibitor drugs, the vaccine will shrink or even eliminate resistant tumors. And in some of these early trials, all done in mice, of course, at this point, the vaccine alone was enough to eradicate many types of cancer. So this finding suggests that there is a potential new path forward towards a universal cancer vaccine that could work across multiple cancer types, moving beyond surgery, beyond chemotherapy, beyond radiation, just letting your body do what it does, but with more tools and better. So, and it's not even the chicken or egg thing in this case. Like you normally think, oh, okay, there's a new virus out, and now we need to make this new immune system, or we need to make a new vaccine that like targets that. So we have to look at the shape of the virus and go get the antibodies and then duplicate them and inject them in everybody. We don't have to keep track of all the different types of cancer that are out there. Because it's broadly activating the immune system, it makes the dormant T cells spring into action and kill the tumors. So this flips the traditional cancer vaccine strategy on its head. It hints at a future where an off-the-shelf mRNA cancer vaccine could universally wake up the immune system to fight cancer, much like how the COVID-19 vaccine primed the body against a virus. So yeah, if confirmed in human trials, this could be one of the most groundbreaking shifts ever in cancer treatments in decades. All right, let's listen to what Tech Unicorn has to say about this group of the elite meeting in Sun Valley. I guess I believe it. Now it makes me think about what might be happening there. Here she is.
Every tech billionaire you know is at a secret summer camp that could change everything. So right now, Zuckerberg, Bezos, Tim Cook, Sam Altman, Bill Gates, literally every tech CEO, they're all at this exclusive summer camp in Sun Valley, Idaho. We're talking 175 private jets just to get them there. This isn't just rich people playing golf, though. This is where Disney bought ABC, Bezos decided to buy the Washington Post, Google grabbed YouTube, all those types of deals that literally reshape our world. They happen here, totally off the record. So all of the people who control our apps, our news, our entire digital lives are making backroom deals that we're going to hear about a lot later.
I mean, I don't really get at the end where she says, that's why I'm at a villa with 10 business girlies. But anyway, I believe this does happen. And this probably is where the biggest moves in the world probably do shake up. I didn't know about it until right now, but it kind of makes sense. I mean, I've always known there were parties and like rooms and stuff people were in, but I didn't know it was so like systematic. Like every year we get together and like just this is how a lot of these deals happen. So in one sense, I think it's kind of good that a bunch of people who see these foundation models are actually having a conversation off the record because they kind of don't want the world to be destroyed, right? Like it's like the world is better even for the billionaires if the lower class comes up quite a bit and doesn't feel that desire to revolt. So hopefully that's part of it, but there's always that other side, and the other side's kind of easier for me to just instinctively lean into, which is, oh yeah, you know what we could do to like keep out everyone except the people in this room is we could all team up and kind of become an oligarchy or kind of keep people out of our systems because we're so powerful, and that would guarantee that we keep all this power, and the people we want will do whatever they want to be around us because we'll have all the power. And I don't know. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think 175 private jets clogging the runway there it means? Like, what do you think's going to come? What conversations do you think are happening right now that we can make some predictions about for next year? Partnerships, stuff like that. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I will follow that up with one thought, though. OpenAI's lawyers are questioning Meta's role in Elon Musk's $97 billion takeover bid. So OpenAI's lawyers are saying that they discovered that Elon Musk was communicating with Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg concerning xAI's bid to purchase the ChatGPT maker, including about potentially financing arrangements or investments. I wonder what that's about. Like, Elon is as rich as he is like constantly fundraising, like constantly. Oh, how about money for the Boring company and more money for SpaceX? And, I guess when you're still rich, you don't have to spend your own money. You can still find more money to build with. So it also kind of makes sense that if Zuckerberg's kind of a little bit in sort of a third, fourth place position, and Elon's trying to figure out how to get on top of OpenAI's lead, that they might have conversations about sharing the tech to some degree. And like, why not? Like, there's probably enough wealth with the AGI, ASI front runner that having a smaller piece of the winning slice is going to be gigantic. Zuckerberg having 5 or 10% of it, like that funny way that Microsoft has owned a bunch of Apple stock ever since they like saved them, and it's been incredibly profitable. And I'm just like, okay, as good as Apple does, Microsoft's like still benefiting from all of that, Like I could imagine them working out something like that. I don't know. We'll see if that's true. It's just an investigation right now, but I could see why Sam Altman's frustrated with it and wants to expose it. Meta declined to comment further. OpenAI and legal counsel for Musk did not immediately respond, so we'll see if that's true or not. So I was listening to a podcast with Stephen Wolfram on it. Sean Kim posted this, and when I got pretty close to the end, I was like 2.5 hours in. I know that's how I spend my time. I was like, I was at the gym way longer than I needed to be just because I was trying to finish this. He said something that was kind of interesting, and it was about the way we should be thinking to keep being productive, to kind of get through so many changes that are going to come from an exponentially changing AI. I'll let Stephen say from here on out.
Relates to what people learn in education and so on, because a lot of education in the last 100 years or so has been a lot about the mechanics of doing things. And it should be more about, learning the facts that you need to know to be able to think broadly about things, and then learning how to think broadly about things. But that's not been the sort of industrialized form of education that we've tended to have. I suspect that will become more and more important. I tend to think that sort of the extremes of kind of philosophy as a way of thinking about things and computational thinking as this kind of formalized way of thinking about things, these are two good sort of forms of thinking worth learning, so to speak. And those are things which I think will kind of in the coming world where lots of the mechanics have been automated, those become things that are very significant for people to be able to do. And and if you like doing those things, now's the time for you, so to speak.
Okay, so it was pretty broad there, but basically being like a philosopher, like thinking broadly about how big things come together. So not learning little facts, but big facts, like more business strategy, more like a conductor of an orchestra instead of an instrument player. It's a little bit vague, but you have to think AI is out there doing so much of the little things that we don't need to, but the big things is where you want to be focused on shaping, like coming into a company having a big perspective on how they fit into the broader economy is probably going to be more valuable than having some particular job that will be automated away. So, yeah, he just kind of captured it. It's sort of a hard concept to explain, but it's like what Plato and Socrates and a lot of philosophers have just done. What is the point of all of this? What is the meaning of all of these things coming together? Why exactly are we putting energy into building this or that product? Where are we supposed to be? Where do the morals guide us? What are our value systems? Stuff like that is kind of how I interpreted what Stephen was saying. So just wanted to share. So I also just wanted to put this on your radar. Looks like LASIK might be something that we can actually replace with something a little safer, something where you don't slice the eye. I know it's a little bit off topic, but having perfect vision would just be something so many people would want, and it would be so convenient to be able to slightly reshape the eye to have great vision for everyone. Scientists have developed a surprisingly simple method that could one day replace LASIK. So instead of cutting or lasering the cornea, they use a pair of custom platinum contact lens-like electrodes to apply a thin, tiny current, which temporarily changes the cornea's pH, and that makes it malleable. Okay, so we're talking about actually softening up the eyeball here and then letting it reshape and then hardening it again. Like that is, it kind of hardened itself when you stop like running those electrodes through it. But to me, that's just wild. It's almost like the eye can become clay and then you can reshape it and then you haven't sliced anything. Yeah. So supposedly, from the research in tests on rabbit eyes, the process adjusted the cornea's curvature safely and quickly. It could even reverse certain cloudiness that some people see in the cornea. I don't know who needs it, but the coolest part is that this electromechanical reshaping, that EMR technique, it works without any incisions or lasers. It's just a pH shift induced by a mild electric field via that platinum contact lens. I don't know how far you could take something like that, but could we have ways where we could reshape the body in lots of different ways? Like, can organs be reshaped? Could like fat and muscle sort of be reshaped in some way in the future through electromechanical reshaping? Just another one of those kind of futuristic things that has just been striking me in this exponentially growing technological world is something worth knowing about. But yeah, avoiding all the structural risks of cutting the eye seems like pretty awesome. Oh, I forgot to put this in the intro too, by the way. That's okay. This is missing from the intro, but we'll just cover it in general. All right, next up, let's talk about how Dr. I hope I say his name right, Okin Sandrakostovkov envisions a radical new form of AI. This new form of AI he is calling individual artificial intelligence. I think this is a pretty fascinating term, so I want to share. So when he's talking about individual artificial intelligence, he's pointing out that this is the kind of thinking in which your brain and a machine literally form a hybrid, like a symbiotic system through and through. This would be like the way the mitochondria and the cell is like completely connected. So instead of traditional implants, like something like Neuralink, his idea is to use tiny molecular beacons. And these would be injected into your body to bridge neurons and the hardware that you're communicating with non-invasively. So beacon, like tiny molecular beacons are like floating around your body just to keep an eye on how things are communicating throughout your body, and that could then relay through some kind of like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth type thing outside of the system. So the brain and computer would gradually adapt to each other. It would just feel like when you have a thought, it just comes faster. If you don't speak a language right now, maybe the word that you need in the other language just like pops into your brain because it's right in there seeing you looking for a certain word. And then it's like, oh, let me go grab some of that information from out here and then push it back into the way essentially the electricity, I guess, is like flowing through your brain, which seems really wild. Kind of feels better than having a Neuralink type thing in there, but also easily controllable, and all of the negative privacy things is definitely still there. But the idea of the brain and the computer gradually adapting to each other feels more natural. Your AI learns your habits and becomes like a digital reflex while your brain leans on the machine for processing power. And in essence, it promises the AI isn't just personalized, it becomes intuitive. It becomes an extension of how you think, feel, move, and act. But the craziest thing about this whole idea of individual artificial intelligence would be that there's no screen, there's no thing in between you and your thoughts. You're directly via pure neural impulses having intuition. You are thinking with intuition, not words, using AI. So that bypasses literacy. It doesn't seem like you need to know any specific language. You could be somebody who never had been taught any languages. Connected to one of these, you could still augment your thinking. You could imagine things you've never, facts of the world that you hadn't learned before. If what you really wanted, like in your mind, this is how I imagine it. Imagine you're trying to think, okay, how tall is, let's say, the Eiffel Tower compared to, I don't know, like Mount Kilimanjaro or something. In my mind, I can put the two next to each other, and I really have no idea if the ratio is right. But I'm imagining a system like this, an individual artificial intelligence would be able to, if what my goal was to compare the two heights, would go get augmented facts and make sure that I imagined it correctly. And wouldn't that be a trip? Like, I don't know how far we are from that. If that's, I mean, if we're at a longevity escape velocity in 2030, 2040, we're like going through the singularity and we have ASI everywhere and we can build stuff like this, then yeah, maybe individual artificial intelligence is the way to think about us augmented in the future. So if you like content like this and want to support the channel, now head on over to patreon.com/Dylan Kiris if you'd like to join our membership, or you can hit that join button right below here. Just help support this channel. But if not, just leaving a comment, watching all the way to the end means the world to me. Thanks for the engagement. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part of this community. And let's just keep going, man, day by day. This is getting crazy. There is so much interesting stuff I'm excited to cover for the next few videos too. I've got like a huge list of it. So let's get her done. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.